Welcome to Streams of Income with self-help author Ryan Rieger. For the next hour, you'll hear proven methods for how to live the multiple income streams dream. Ryan is passionate about helping others discover their gifts and start their own business. He's published 5 books, and his courses and group coaching programs have changed the lives of thousands of students all over the world. Ryan's books include Private Label, The Easy Way, Finding Your Grace Place, and his latest, Streams of Income. And now, here's your host, Ryan Rieger.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Streams of Income radio show. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. And let me ask you a question. Have you ever dealt with what we call shiny object syndrome, where you see all these business opportunities and you just bounce around from one to the next without really focusing on one and making that one work for you? Well, I'm sure you have. I've been there for sure. I still get tempted when I see all these new business opportunities, or I hear of somebody doing something different. I think maybe I should do that. And it just takes your focus off of what you need to be doing. And so my guest today is my really good friend, Eric Bussey, who has dealt with this a big time in the past, and just feels like recently he's just kind of gotten over it and focused on what he is supposed to be doing. He started doing a retail arbitrage on Amazon, and now he's expanded, and he actually has 2 huge brick and mortar stores. He sells tools, and he's killing it in the Atlanta area, and he also has a warehouse in the Charlotte area. But Eric has bounced around from business idea to business idea and is now just kind of doubling down on his business. And he's really, really good at bringing people into his stores with Facebook and creating stories and videos that are intriguing that get people to come in the door. So you're going to love this episode from Eric. If you've ever dealt with the issue of feeling like just a squirrel going after every acorn that's out there, you're going to love this episode. Here is my interview with Eric. Eric, thanks so much for being on with me, man. How are you?
I'm doing awesome, man. Thanks for having me. It's awesome to be here.
Yes. So you and I go back a ways. What's funny about us guys is that we have some weird, quirky thing that we have chosen not to become Facebook friends. I don't know why. We just kind of
It's become a competition because how Facebook shows mutual friends. Yeah. I want to get that number to 300 or what? It's something ridiculous. It's like 272.
Right.
It's like, man, we only have 20 more mutual friends to go before we hit the big 300. So it's a little game we're playing. I don't get it.
So once in a while, I'll send them a message and do a screenshot of like Facebook suggests I become your friend because we have so many friends in common. Nope, not doing it. Oh man, no, but we have a real life friendship. He and Talbot and his girls have actually been here to Texas, and we've got to hang out with them. And of course, know him through Jim's community. So Eric, today I just you have an awesome story. So let's go back to how you got started online. Anything else you can chat about too that maybe led you up to that, but who are you? And let's just talk about your journey.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think, for the sake of relevancy, I don't want to start with my whole life story because we don't have 6 hours, but I will start in about 2013. I think 2013 is when my now business partner and I, discovered that you can just go to garage sales and find things that people are just wanting to get rid of. And you could, sell it on eBay for 5 times, 10 times, 50 times sometimes what you paid. So we started doing that quite a bit. And we're like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever. I mean, these people, it's a service because these people want it out of their house. Yeah. And you're able to take it and sell it to somebody who really, really values that. So
right.
That's where him and I started. And it was just a ton of fun, getting up on Friday mornings and Saturday mornings, going to all these garage sales, and you end up meeting the coolest people and building the coolest relationships. Yeah. But him and I, we just had so much fun together doing it. It was modern day treasure hunting,
Yes.
You never knew what you're going to find, and you woke up excited, felt like Christmas morning. Just about
were you flipping that stuff on eBay?
eBay, yes. eBay, yes. This was before we got into Amazon, so it was 100% eBay. I don't think Facebook Marketplace was a thing back then. Sure.
And guys, if that sounds, some of you are like, man, that sounds awesome to be able to do that. That opportunity still exists now. You could still go to garage sales. Greg Perry and I have a Facebook community about treasure hunting profits, and it's all about finding that type of thing and selling on eBay. So that model still exists.
Oh, I'd love to join that group. I love it. It's like a sickness. I can't stop. No matter where I go in life, I see a garage sale sign and I just have to pull over. I
Yeah.
can't stop. I think a couple years ago, Jenny Hunt and I did a modern day treasure hunt, a
Yes.
7-day challenge.
Yes, I
It was
remember
all
that.
about garage sales. It was just the coolest thing. So, and then we wanted to get a little bit bigger. My ultimate dream was to one day quit my job. I didn't have kids yet, but I was married, and that was in the plans to be able to work for myself, have something that was going to provide for our family, have kids, raise kids, that whole deal. So
Yeah.
that was the ultimate dream.
Yeah.
I was doing pest control at the time. I just moved back from Colorado, where I was a counselor for young people, and I was just an exterminator. It was fun. It was good. It paid me well and provided for me and all, but I wasn't necessarily passionate about it.
Yeah.
I always had the entrepreneurship bug, ever since, when I was 10, I bought my own lawnmower and started cutting my neighbors' yards because I realized, well, if you do work and provide a service, they give you money, and then you take that money and you can go buy all your baseball cards. So that's exactly how I viewed it, and that just never went away. So that was my ultimate dream, but it was hard to picture that just doing garage sales. It was really hard to scale, and I realized that it was fun, but it's hard to scale at points. So at some point, I was watching a YouTube video, and some guy was talking about Amazon FBA, and I was like, oh man, what's this Amazon FBA thing? And he was selling books on Amazon. So that's the coolest thing ever. So you send it in to an Amazon warehouse, and when it sells, they ship it. Like, this is awesome. I had no idea you could do this.
Right.
So the rest of the night, I couldn't sleep. I just laid awake. I couldn't wait to wake up and go, sourcing at garage sales to sell on Amazon. And we got really into that. So at this point, we were doing Amazon and eBay.
Were you selling the same items? Selling the same types of items? Used stuff?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we did. We weren't really heavy on books because it was so simple.
Yep.
You scan it with the app and it tells you whether you should buy it or not. Like, just like really, really simple. And then we started doing the same thing in retail stores, retail arbitrage. We started going to Walmarts and Walgreens and just all the retail stores in the area and buying and reselling on Amazon. And that's funny how we started too, because we started, the garage sale stuff, we were just using pocket money, garage sale stuff costs $1 here, $2 here.
Sure.
So it didn't really cost a whole lot. But once we got into retail stores, well, then we needed a little bit more money. So we started with $500 on a credit card. There was a bunch of clearance toys, and we said, you know what, we're just going to try it. If it works, awesome. If it doesn't work, we're out $500. Okay, whatever. So we went for it, and everything sold. We were like, oh, man, this is amazing. So we did it again, and then we did it again, and we did it again. And then we said, you know what? If we have all of our friends who are asking about our business come and join us, they can go shopping, with our money, of course, and these are trusted friends, send it into Amazon, and then they'll get a percentage of the profit. So
you can scale
we ended up building. Yeah, we scaled it. We found a way to scale it, and we built a pretty big team, all across the country, and had shoppers all over the place that would send it into Amazon, and it was for a percentage of the profit. So it was really, really cool.
That's awesome. I know there's people thinking right now that they want to do that exact model. Real quick, some of the questions they're going to ask I can hear people asking right now if they were watching us live. How did you pay those people? I know they were trusted, so they probably had a credit card of some kind, but just spend a couple minutes talking about how you paid them, how much you paid them, and the logistics of how that worked with somebody who was outside your state.
Absolutely. And I'm going to try to remember exactly what it was. I might butcher it because it's been a while.
Yeah.
But I believe it was, so anything under, we'll start at the very beginning. We sent them a credit card, obviously, and they were very trusted. We knew them. There's ways to get around that if they're, acquaintances, not as close, but we only had people that we trusted. So we sent them a credit card.
Yeah.
And we put a small limit on that credit card, and they would use that card to go out and shop at the various retail stores in their area.
Okay.
They would send it in themselves. So they had user permissions on our Amazon account. So they would send it in themselves. We would track everything. I believe it was Inventory Lab we used to kind of track everything from month to month. sales and returns and all that good stuff. So we would pay them a month after, it had sold, just to make sure that it wasn't going to come back and be a return.
Right.
And we would pay them 25% of the profit, I believe.
25% profit. Okay.
Up to the first $5,000 of profit. And then from 5,000 to 10,000 in profit, I believe we paid them half of the profit.
Wow.
And anything over 10,000, I think we paid them 75%.
Nice.
So those numbers, they're a little fuzzy. I'm going to be honest with you.
Okay.
It was right around there. But we like to incentivize. This is how I work. I like to be incentivized when I work. Hourly was always difficult for me.
Yeah.
So I wanted to incentivize our shoppers. Hey, the better buys you make, the more profit the company's going to make, the bigger your check's going to be. So we wanted to incentivize, hey, get over $10,000 because I want to give you 75% of that.
Yeah.
I would love to.
That's awesome.
So they loved it. We loved it. And we scaled it quite a bit, as much as we thought we could. And we had some other things in between there. Well, first of all, does that answer? You think?
Yeah, no, that's good.
Question?
That's perfect. I'm sure if there's somebody else that we can probably do a whole episode on how you would launch a business like that, because guys, there's so many ways to make money online and ways to scale. And this is something that you could be doing right now. You can just have people that need extra work and just have them go out and buy your replens for you, or even train them how to make decisions for your business. Still totally very doable. That's awesome. Absolutely.
Super. I mean, $500 on a credit card, that's all it took. And I'm not necessarily recommending start with a credit card, but that's our story. That's what we did. So we did other things in between there. We were still doing garage sales because once, like I said, it's sickness. I can't stop. It's addicting.
You still do garage sales? You still go to garage sales when you have time?
I'll stop if I pass one. If it's convenient, I cannot drive by one. It's ridiculous. But we also started doing storage unit auctions, just like, you see on the TV.
Yes.
On TV. Very, very similar to that. You go and you do storage unit, and that's treasure hunting on a whole new scale, because you'll find literal treasure.
Do you think, okay, so I know that's already piqued some interest there, because that piques my interest. Not that I would think I would have the time to do that, but could you do a whole episode about that? I mean, do you have some tips and tricks and strategies for buying those at those places?
Not necessarily buying, but how to operate the business. I believe so. And it's very, very simple. And we did it very poorly. You need a team. You have to have a team, because I mean, my friend, my business partner, Carrie, and I were very excitable, so we would get very, very excited when we would see what's in the storage unit, and we'd end up bidding and winning, 6 or 7 storage units in one go. And it's just him and I. And we didn't care how packed it was, how empty it was.
Oh my goodness.
Saw something we liked and we just went for it. So what you end up with probably 75% of it go into the dump, and you're scrapping the rest, you're putting your scrap metal on one side.
Yeah.
So you have to have a team.
Sure. Can that be, it seems to me now, maybe I don't know what I'm doing, but maybe you would have to have some knowledge about a lot of different things to know what to even bid on. But it's almost feels like a gamble to me. Am I wrong on that?
Well, it's going for so low that I don't know if we necessarily ever lost money.
Okay, that's good.
We lost money in opportunity. Our time would have been better spent somewhere else to make more.
Okay.
But we never physically lost money. We bought some storage units for $1. So but the very first one was going back to the knowledge you need to have. And the more I'm talking about it, the more it could be a separate episode. But
I think it could be. We could probably have a whole episode just about storage auctions. I'm writing this down because
we really could.
I know there's some guy that's going to be, hey, we need to have Eric back on just to talk about storage auctions.
It was super fun.
Storage auction course.
Right. But we had that sprinkled in there. We had the storage unit auctions. That's another thing. We still want to get back to that. That's still in our plans. It's just so difficult because of time.
Sure.
But now that we have the team, maybe we could.
Yeah, you find somebody that's really interested in doing that sounds like, doesn't even sound like work to them to go to those auctions and bid on it is a almost just a fun thing. And so just say, hey, here's your budget, feel free to spend up to this amount.
Exactly. It was a simple concept. But shortly after starting retail arbitrage, once we built that up for about a year, then I had found My Silent Team, and in My Silent Team community, found Jim, and built a relationship with you and Jenny and everybody in the community. And then we were able to scale it even more, because up until that point, we were just kind of bumping along, figuring everything out that we could. But it was one of those things, you don't know what you don't know. Right. And that's where the community comes in.
Yeah.
Is the community is able to show you a lot of things that you wouldn't have seen necessarily yourself. So I had all these light bulbs going off about private label and wholesale and all these different ways to make money online.
Yep.
And some of the things that I just never would have thought of for myself. So I'm extremely grateful to have found the community and the people that are in it. So that just grew my business, just alone being part of the community, just by itself. So fast forward, and as many different business models as I've been in, we started doing some liquidation stuff, and started doubling down on selling online, and we ended up to where we are now, which is mostly retail. We have 2 retail stores, and we do a lot online still.
Yeah.
But most of our energy is going into these retail stores. So
wow.
I'm sure there's things in there I'm missing. We used to, consign books for schools.
Okay.
Some of the schools that, as a fundraiser, we would consign books and sell them on Amazon. So there's little things like that we did that's sprinkled in there, but we were just kind of
sounds like you've done it all. Every way to make money online with physical products, you've had a hand in it or done it at one point in time.
Yeah, private label. Yeah, we've tried it all the past 7 or 8 years. Yeah.
So this is one of the things I wanted to chat with you about, because it's so easy as an entrepreneur, and especially there's so many options. It's like walking into a buffet and everything looks amazing, like a really, really good buffet. We're not talking about like a Golden Corral type of thing, but a really good Vegas buffet, top of the line. Like, I want everything. I want to eat all of it. And that's the way it is with online businesses. Sometimes there's so many awesome strategies. You hear somebody killing it with eBay and like, ooh, I want to do that. Or storage auctions. That sounds fun. I want to try that. Ooh, private label. That sounds amazing. Let's try that. And then your focus is all over the place, and we call it shiny object syndrome. I'm sure that's something you've had to deal with, right?
Absolutely. That sums up the last 7 years, so, and coming into the community and learning all these new tools and these new ways to make money, and my eyes being open, that's a great analogy. Like a buffet. It's a buffet of careers. What do you want to do? I had a lot of that, from thing to thing to thing. And, a few years ago, if I would have read a story about a, guy in New York City selling hot dogs out of a cart, he made $10 million. Well, I would have gone hot dog cart shopping, I just, how do I do that? I'm going to try it. So it's been all over the place. And there are a couple of things that have helped me. And first is identifying where the shiny object syndrome comes out in my own businesses. And you see this a lot in the community, and any entrepreneur is going to have it. Having a job is one thing. It's very simple, for the most part. Broadly speaking, my jobs were always very simple. When I was doing pest control, I would show up to a building or school, and I would take care of any issues they were having. It was very simple.
Right.
This is the problem. This is how I solve it. Then I go to the next customer. So being an entrepreneur, it's like, man, I have 50 million choices in front of me. How do I pick one?
Yes.
And that's so hard to see one all the way through to get the fruits of it.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to bounce around.
Yes, it is.
Go get your hot dog cart. So.
Yep.
So there are 2 ways that I have seen the shiny object syndrome come out most in my life, professionally. And that's one, finding your business, finding which business do you want to pursue. Is it storage unit auctions? Is it retail arbitrage? Is it private label? Is it wholesale? And, I hope I'm not going to be responsible for people hearing this and go like run 50 different directions at once because they sound so fun. They are, but finding my business was one of the biggest areas that I needed to stay focused on, and I just couldn't. You know, it was very difficult for me to do that.
Yeah.
The other one is in my business.
Okay.
So now today I have my business 100%. I know what I'm focused on. I know what I'm supposed to do every single day
Yep.
and what business I want to grow. But with that comes another issue. So now I have shiny object syndrome within my own business.
Mm.
So being a business owner and having a team, what needs to get done first? You know, it's really easy to show up to the store and show up to the warehouse where, you know, there's 10 fires that you feel like you have to put out.
Yeah.
You know, and it's very easy to get caught up in that.
Mm-hmm.
To where I have a team around me, yet I'm the one doing it. No matter how important it seems, it's necessary for me to delegate as much as I can.
Yeah.
You know, for me to stay focused on what I need to, because all these shiny objects will pop up, and it's things that I feel like I need to pursue right now. But it's the same thing that I was doing for the past 7 years that kept me distracted.
Yes. How do you tell? So how did you end up getting over that? Because most people are not don't have a huge team like you do yet. There's some listening that I guarantee they do, but most of the folks listening are probably single member LLCs or sole proprietors, and they're doing the RAOA model, and they're seeing all these other people talk about their successes, and that they're like, ooh, putting their focus on other things, and they're bouncing around. So how did you get over that?
Well, a team was a big way I did it. You know, so I can start from the beginning, and we realized, you know, we needed a team. We saw the need for that. So I really, really like this saying, and I've heard Jim say it, I believe, but the first person you bring on should be someone that makes you money.
Ooh, yes.
So in our case, that was another shopper.
Okay.
That was somebody who is going to be going out and shopping. And while I'm on, you know, a Zoom call with you, they're out there shopping. You know, sending things into Amazon, that stuff selling, and you just do that over and over and over again. So I realize that's not going to be possible in every scenario to build a team. So it's finding out, what does your success list look like? We'll forget what book it was, but I remember it stuck with me from years ago. You know, there's a difference between a to-do list and a success list. I don't know if you've heard the difference, but I used to just do to-do list. And that was just all the different things that I felt like I had to do that day, you know, and all that was giving me a list of things to cross off. It wasn't necessarily
because you can be busy and not really get anything done in your business.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. So it was a to-do list. And all that does is just gives me things to check off, to keep myself busy, to justify being an entrepreneur, you know, to justify not having a real job, a job. So what really helped me is starting to look at those to-do lists like a success list. And this might be another tangent, but I feel like it's really, really important. But the 80-20 rule.
Yep.
I love the 80-20 rule, and being a marketer as well, you know, I had always heard about that in marketing. You know, what 20% of your customers bring in 80% of your revenue. How do you find those customers and bring in more of those? So it's true for everything.
Yeah.
You know, 80% of the traffic in my area comes from 20% of the roads. You know, what is it? My employee just said it. It was, I'd never heard of it before, but 80% of the wear on your carpet comes from 20% of the actual carpet area in your home.
Okay.
Like, oh man, that makes so much sense. Well, you have your path from the living room to the kitchen, the bathroom, but you have your little path that you go down. So, so it's everywhere. So I started thinking, you know, what would it look like if I wrote, you know, my to-do list for the day, and it was 10 things. What would happen if I took out 20% of those things? And I said, okay, if I only did 20% of these things, I would move my business forward.
Yes.
So I have my list of 10 things, take out 20%, I'm left with 2 things. 2 things is pretty manageable. And I'm putting some thought into it. So they're likely the most important things that I can do that day.
That's right.
So if I do these 2 things in my day today, is that going to move the needle for my business? Because if I'm not cautious about that, I'm going to try to do all 10 things as if they're equal, and they're not equal. You know, so I just kind of go down the list, and I might start with the least important thing. It's not really, it feels really important, but it's not going to move my business forward, you know?
Yes.
So having a success list instead of a to-do list.
That's powerful right there.
Was a really, really, efficient
So what
way
would you say, speaking to mostly, I mean, I have people listening probably that aren't necessarily selling online yet, but for majority of them, they're e-commerce sellers. What would you say are the 80% of the things that they could probably pass off to somebody else? The things that they'll do to stay busy, to feel like they're making progress, but it's not really moving the needle.
Well, for me, it ended up being shopping. It ended up being sourcing.
Okay.
I realized that's something that can be easily, once you have the system built.
Yeah.
So that's where the 20% comes in. The 20% of what I should do is build the system.
Yes.
I build the system to give it to everyone else, my future team.
Mm-hmm.
So sourcing for me was one of them.
Okay.
That was, download the Amazon app or whatever app you use for scanning, and you go into a store and you find profitable products. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
I could teach almost anybody how to do that. So once you have the system, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
So I think the 80% for me was sourcing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good, man. Powerful. What you just said the last few minutes was worth this whole episode. I know it's going to help a lot of people get over the shiny object syndrome, and because it's so easy to just be focused on what do I have to do today and make it a to-do list, and not really, those aren't necessarily things that are going to really help me move forward. Wow. Good stuff. So we got the shiny object syndrome and focus. You mentioned it's in your business. Even talk a little bit more about that. And like, even like on a day-to-day thing within your business, it's easy to get distracted.
It is. It's really, really easy to come in and see, hundreds and, thousands of items and say, oh man, I need to, sit here and process all this stuff.
Right.
I need to go through and figure out what are we going to sell in the store? What are we going to sell online, and test it and inspect it. I get caught up in that really easily. And it's not mine to do anymore. So when I walk into the store, my initial reaction is go deal with all this stuff. Because, oh man, we bought it all. Now we need to find a way to sell it. Where that's not my job. That's not my role anymore. My role now is how do I get customers into the store?
Yes.
So my particular role has just been marketing.
Yeah.
How do I get customers to the website? How do I get customers to the store? A lot of it, believe it or not, has been relationship building. Business really, really, really is all about relationships. So a lot of it is networking, talking to people that are in my community, because we have a retail store.
Yeah.
Online, it was networking with you guys, you and Jenny and Delia, and all of us would get together. That was important to me. That's how you move your business forward.
That's right. So talk about, I know there's some people that would love to follow the path that you have with taking a physical product business online and also then turn it into an actual brick and mortar store. Can you talk a little bit about how you ended up going that direction, and how it's now your thing?
Right. Well, we always loved talking to people, and it is a lot more satisfying to sell somebody who you get to meet and talk to versus selling something to Mike in Wisconsin, the guy you're never going to meet. You're never going to be able to build a relationship, never get to make him smile or laugh or anything like that. So it was always very satisfying to sell things in our little warehouse. And before we ended up with this big store, we just had a little tiny warehouse. It was exactly what you picture an old warehouse to be. There was no storefront. It was just a big metal building with a big warehouse and a tiny little office where we had like a cash register. That was all we had. So everything was cramped. The whole thing was a mess. We got the warehouse thinking we're 100% online. No way people are going to come in here anyway. We just need a place to process this stuff and sell it online. Yeah. But once people found out we were there, we grew. The floodgates opened. They told their friends. They started coming in. Wow. And all that really was making people feel good when they came in.
That's awesome.
If you just treat people well, they remember that. They remember how they felt, and then they go tell all their friends. And that's just kind of how it's undeniable for us. We had to start a retail store because we just grew very, very quickly.
Wow. So it was just organic. You had no idea when you started the warehouse that you would ever have a retail store?
Never. It was never on the radar.
Where were you
Never.
selling? Were you selling the stuff on Amazon and eBay before?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
And our website, and we started a little bit on Walmart, not much,
Okay.
but really any marketplace we could.
And so because you're selling tools, was it like somebody locally just asked if they could pick it up instead of having you ship it to them or something?
Exactly. It was. It started. We're in a warehouse community,
Okay.
so there were mechanics in there, and there were
Okay.
electricians, and there were restoration people who restored old cars. So I mean, it was like the perfect place.
Yeah.
HVAC guys, so they would come in and they would buy their tools. They'd have a tool break, and they'd come in and they'd buy from us. And then they started telling their friends, and that's how it just kind of grew.
Got it.
And
Wow.
coming from a lot of Facebook marketing, that was kind of my world for a while. I said, you know what, I'm just going to lean into it. We're going to start being on, anything we can on Facebook. We're going to start running ads, and that's how it just really spiraled.
That's incredible. So you just saw the need, and it just turned into the stores. Wow. Because you could no longer be in the warehouse. Wow. And now you're in 20,000 square foot location.
Yeah, we have our Atlanta location is 20,000 square feet. Our Charlotte location, we're looking for something similar, and it's growing. It's just
That's
growing,
incredible.
and it's all because of the focus, though.
Yeah.
As we stop doing all these different things, and we stop being the silver ball. I don't know if you've heard that, but you have pinball machine. You got a silver ball in there, so it just bounces off everything. There's no direction, no intention, nothing. It just bounces. Yeah. That's what we were. The second we stopped and focused and said, this is what we're going to do.
Yes.
It happened.
What advice would you have for somebody who feels like they're dealing with shiny object syndrome, and because there's so many good opportunities online? You got the RA model, the OA model, wholesale, private label, KDP, write a book, to create a course out of something you're passionate about. What would you advise somebody who is feels like they're pulled in so many different directions to focus in on that one thing?
Well, one, being willing to fail is one of them, is not knowing if it's going to work or not, but committing to yourself that you're going to do 100%.
Yeah.
You're going to commit to it 100%. You're going to see it all the way through.
That's good.
And that might be someone who's brand new, who's coming out of a typical job, who wants to give entrepreneurship a shot. Hopefully they're hearing this and they're able to say, I'm going to put 100% into whatever I choose to do, and not, do this, 80, 10, 7, 3, you put all these, you're dividing yourself up, and it's just very, very difficult.
Yeah.
I think committing is one thing, and then finding someone who's been there before and asking them how they did it.
Sure.
That's really helpful too.
That's really good. Man, what about the guy who's like, man, I like there's 3 things about my business that look interesting, and I want to, did you say pick one that seems like, I know every case would be different. And for somebody, it might be easy to say, hey, because of your situation or the amount of money you have to invest, this might be the best route. But if they're trying to figure this out on their own, would you just say eventually got to pick one and just go for it?
Well, yeah, and it's not necessarily forever. It's temporary. Exactly. So it's, you pick one, and luckily for us, we had all these shoppers all over the country. So I was able to step back a little bit and focus on marketing, focus on how do I get really, really good at marketing and running Facebook ads. That's what I want to do. So all these people were over here shopping and bringing in the money, which allowed me to branch off, learn all these valuable marketing skills that I'm now applying to our business. We didn't know we were going to have, but was going to be very valuable. So
that's incredible.
It's only temporary.
Yeah.
You can build the system, you can automate it, you can move on to the next revenue stream.
I love it. Talk about, so you mentioned before we hit record about these videos that your guys are making. And you said you have some people in your Charlotte location that came into the store just because they want to meet the guys that made the videos.
Yeah, exactly.
So what kind of videos are you talking about that they're making that are getting people in the door?
They're just funny videos. And I think anybody could do this too. So, authenticity is something that everybody's kind of craving online now. Everything kind of seems doctored up. When you see a video or, a commercial or an ad on Facebook, it always seems like it's doctored up, or, you see it a lot in e-commerce, a lot of shots of like Lamborghinis and these big mansions, and it just doesn't feel obtainable. It doesn't feel real. It feels like you just took, a picture of someone's Lamborghini, and now you're going to, ask them to give you $5,000 to teach you how to, make money online. Right. So nothing feels authentic. You know, it's
Yep.
very rare. So what we found that was working really well is shooting these videos just with an iPhone or, you know, a phone camera, and you just talk into it. You know, it's the most simple thing, but that's what people online crave now. So we were making all these weird videos that, you know, they were just funny. You know,
Like doing funny stuff with the tools.
Yeah, you sing a song, or you know, you say something funny, or you stack up all these, you know, tools in a weird way, or you hide in a tool cabinet, whatever it is. But you're just doing these things and you're putting it out on Facebook, and people love it. So what ended up happening is at one of our locations is these customers in the area came in just to meet the people who were shooting the videos.
Wow.
You know, they kind of just became local celebrities, but that showed us just how much people were actually craving authenticity from the world, from online. So it was really, really powerful. So even that person who's, you know, starting a Facebook page and just wants to build an audience and wants to engage with that audience, bringing them into your world. If you're doing private label, you know, and you're trying to build an audience and you want to connect with that audience, you know, it's hard to do that online. It's different doing that online than it is in person. So it's pulling out your phone and shooting a video where you're just honest. You're saying, this is what I'm thinking about creating. I'm nervous. Should I make this one or should I make this one? Should I make it green? Should I make it yellow? I don't know what to do. And just pulling people into your world and your thought process. People really appreciate that.
That's awesome.
And that's all we do.
Wow. Would you say that those videos are the major, or I guess talk about how you're getting people into your door. Are those videos one of the major catalysts of that happening?
Yeah, there's three. There's word of mouth is by far the best.
Yeah.
That's a personal recommendation from somebody that somebody else knows that they should come check this place out.
Yep. Absolutely.
So it's very trusted.
Word of mouth.
So word of mouth is by far the biggest. Oh, not quite by far. The second is Facebook, and Facebook is kind of divided up into two areas. You have the Facebook page and ads and anything that's us showing who we are. A video of us, a picture of us, you know, we'll take a video of ourselves and run that as an ad on Facebook, but that's one way. But then Facebook Marketplace is another way. Facebook Marketplace has become huge. You know, it's kind of replaced Craigslist in my eyes, you know, a long time ago. You know, we tried a Craigslist ad, you know, a bunch on Craigslist, nothing, but put it on Marketplace and it just.
These are ads, or like, are you individual tools up for sale, or ads are you doing?
Yeah, all different stuff. Maybe, you know, it's not just tools. It could be, you know, home goods or whatever it is, but you list each thing individually, or you take a picture of the whole lot.
Wow.
And you list that, and all that's doing is it's getting people to open up conversations.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So that's all you're doing. If you're able to open up that conversation, then you're able to build a relationship with them, and hopefully they'll end up buying something from you.
Do you think what you're doing, these strategies, would work in any niche for any brick and mortar store or online store?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah. One of my most successful ads that I ever ran for someone was for a dentist, you know, not selling physical products at all. He just wanted to have people come in and, you know, he was a cosmetic dentistry.
Yeah.
You know, a dentist. And he just took a goofy picture that you wouldn't expect to see from a dentist. You know, you picture dentist and you picture, you know, the things they clean your teeth with, you know, white jacket, you know, all these things, maybe glasses, I don't know. But just the dentist I pictured in my head was not what I was seeing from him. He just took a goofy picture and making a funny face in his dentist chair with all his tools, his equipment. And we ran that as an ad on Facebook, and it would make people stop scrolling, because it would, you know, what we would call like a pattern interrupt. You know, it would interrupt what you're used to seeing, which people would stop.
Yeah.
And that was one of the most successful ads we had. That would bring people in to just schedule cleanings, you know. So it would work in absolutely any niche.
That's awesome.
You know? Absolutely.
Love it. Yeah. Here's another shiny object for you. You could go back, you could have an agency do your same thing, do what you're doing for your company, do it for everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I had an agency too. That was
I remember. Start it up again. There's another shiny object, because there's a lot of people who are hurting right now. A lot of businesses could use this wisdom and learn from you to get people in their doors.
I know it'd have to be a one-to-many kind of thing just because of
Yeah.
the time, but
Right.
I'd
You don't have
love
time to do one-on-one.
to
Yeah.
help it, do that. That would be so much fun.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah. I love that you focused, man. You found your thing and because you just kept going and, that's so cool. So cool to see your success. What advice would you give for people who are, back yourself up 5 or 6 years? What do you say to that guy who's struggling with focus?
I like, I don't know if Confucius actually said this,
Uh-huh.
but the man who tries to catch two rabbits catches neither was
Yes.
really, really meaningful to me. And
Yes.
Ryan, I don't know if you've tried to catch two rabbits, but
I
it's
couldn't
really
catch
hard.
one.
Yeah, it's hard to catch one. So I haven't tried with rabbits. I've tried chickens, and
Yep.
that was impossible. So you focus on one thing. I raised chickens for a little bit. That's a side story. Focus on one thing, and you see it all the way through. You try to do two things at once, you're going to be mediocre at both. And I've played that all the way through to my mindset and how I, use my mental energy each day. Some people say multitask. I'm a really good multitasker.
Yeah.
And not only am I a really bad multitasker, if I'm in the grocery store and I get a phone call, I'm in that aisle until I'm off the phone. I cannot do two things at once.
Me too.
That. But I like that. I don't want that to change because when I try to multitask and I try to do two things at once, I'm kind of mediocre at both.
Right.
So I think that was the main lesson for me over the past 6 or 7 years is chase one thing.
Yes. That's good.
Get really good at that one thing.
Yep. Man, that's valuable advice. Cool. Well, Eric, it's so good catching up with you, man. Thanks for being on with me. I'm sure we could just do one on storage auctions. That sounds fun.
Oh, we could. This was so much fun. Anytime.
Awesome. Well, blessings to you and your family. And again, I'm so cool to see everything that you're doing and how your business is blowing up. It's really, really neat.
So cool. Thanks again for having me. This is great.
Awesome. Well, talk to you soon, buddy.
All right. See you, man.
You've been listening to Streams of Income with self-help author Ryan Rieger. From right here in the Dallas Metroplex, Ryan teaches several entrepreneurial courses and group coaching programs to students all over the world. Be sure to listen next week at the same time for Streams of Income with Ryan Rieger.